Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Hey, let's grab the phones there. We got Brian in Pittsburgh, PA. Hey, Brian, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for getting me on.
You bet.
I have a I have a suggestion that we're going to have to go on offense and not just sit back and take this attack on our Second Amendment rights. With the group that's in there right now in Washington, they're made it plain they're going after the Second Amendment. They're going after the firearms manufacturers, and we need to fight back. And if a concerted effort could be made by the firearms manufacturers and the ammunition manufacturers to withhold 100% of their products, the firearms, the parts, and the ammunition, to the entire state of California, because California has been leading the way on this for years. And that is including and especially withhold firearms and ammunition to law enforcement purchases. I think we would bring them to their knees in a hurry. And if we don't do something drastic, we are going to lose our Second Amendment rights. And I wanted to see what you thought of that.
Well, at least one gun maker did exactly that. Ronnie Barrett at Barrett Firearms, when California passed a ban on 50 cal, and he couldn't sell his 50 caliber rifles into California to citizens, he sent a letter to all of the police departments that had bought his rifles and said, we will no longer sell you rifles, nor will we service your rifles, because if your state won't allow regular citizens, the people who pay your salaries, that is, to own these guns, then we're not going to sell them to you. I don't know that had any effect on anything. I mean, certainly, if you got, imagine for a minute that you got everybody to do that, which you wouldn't. I mean, reality is you're not going to get everybody to do that. Also, there's a possible, I don't even play an attorney on TV, but there's a possible issue with restraining trade or collusion or conspiracy. If all the gun makers and ammo makers got together, decided together to do this thing, I can see the Attorney General of the state going after them for some sort of conspiracy. You also have the additional thing of if you have contracts with the state or with agencies, you got to honor those.
Plus, you got to get it by your shareholders if you're public.
Well, if you're publicly traded, you say, yes, we're going to cut back and reduce our sales by whatever. Because, I mean, California is, I believe,
the number one.
Number one gun buying state.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So your shareholders then sue you and force the CEO out of the company because you did a restraint on your sales as a political maneuver. Now, if you're a privately owned company, if you're a guy that owns an ammo company, you can do whatever you want to do.
Fiduciary negligence, Tom.
But I understand what you're saying, and I get where you're going. Let me take a different tack, Brian. I think, honestly, that is an attractive way to go. It feels good. It would be one of those, we're going to show you kind of things. Two thoughts. One is I don't think it would ever happen. Two, I don't think it actually would work. And I guess number three is that I think we have a different way to go. I think there's a better solution to this. And that is we simply beat them in the courts. And I mean, I really, honestly, truly think that the way that we win all of this is we get the courts to say, no, you cannot ban these guns. Period. It's against the law. It is unconstitutional for you to ban semi-automatic guns. It's unconstitutional for you to ban magazines because that's a weapon. And it's in common use. And under the D.C. versus Heller case in the Supreme Court from 10 or 11 years ago, they said you can't ban guns that are in common use. So rather than what I think are really kind of a symbolic or feel-good thing, which I get it, it would be kind of cool, I think we focus more on how do we win. Here's a problem, Brian. Look, I appreciate the call, sir. I got to keep scooting here. But here's the problem, guys, is that some of this stuff feels good, feels attractive to do. It doesn't actually work. And the stuff that actually works is not very sexy. You know, lawsuits are just not sexy. You don't get a lot of attention for them. You don't rally with them. And they take money. And so we're left with this same old deal of, I feel like, the ShamWow guy who's trying to get donations all the time. Send money in now,
Nice.
You know what I mean? It's like thinking, I know this is what works, and I know this is what we need, but it just feels like you're always saying send money in, and I hate having to do that, but I know that's what it's going to take.
Yep. Well, necessary evil. And I think you misspoke time. You said you referred to the Heller case. I think you meant the often neglected and ignored Heller decision.
Yes, the much maligned and made fun of in the courts Heller decision, which I hope, finding wood to knock on, hope and pray that our new Supreme Court makeup with the 3 judges that Trump put on there, they get some really good Second Amendment cases, and they come back and say, hey, lower courts, the Supreme Court actually meant what it said in Heller. We weren't just joking. It wasn't a suggestion. This is the law of the land from the Supreme Court in the United States of America, and you will take action on this, and you will honor Second Amendment rights, and the people have the right, not militias, the people have the right. And no, you can't ban guns that are in common use. We said it very clearly.
Right.
Well, I guess we're going to have to reinforce it.
Right, you would think so.
Or everybody declares himself as a militia member, and you're good.
Well, and the thing is, the court clearly said the Second Amendment is not restricted. It's not restricted to people who are in the militia. It is every individual, every person. And interestingly enough, even though the Heller decision was a 5-4 decision, that part of the decision was 9-0.
Right.
The court was unanimous in saying that the Second Amendment applies to individuals, not to some collective body out there. Interesting. People forget that part of it.